it is a gross one, but I get super excited when I'm able to share this with individuals. Just about what we go through on a day to day, what we're eating and consuming on a day to day basis, and really just making people aware and mindful of what they're putting in their mouths. So the background to that, and I'll actually just introduce myself. I am T Black. I am called the Certified Boss Mom because I hold many certifications in different areas. I'm also a wealth management specialist as well as an inspirational speaker, and I do keynote speaking as well. So I have a background in multiple areas, mainly because I just hunger for knowledge. I love learning and I love being able to regurgitate and teach other people the things that I've learned. So I'm going to yield before I dive right into Jessica. Did you introduce yourself? And Portia, giving you the mic to introduce yourself as well.
No, I briefly did, but I will. I am Jessica McNeil, author, speaker, coach, and pastor. We come on here and share this space really to build each other up. That is my focus. I have a servant's heart. And so I use the different platforms that God avails to me to be able to do such. And with that, I will yield to you, Miss Portia.
Hello, I'm Portia. I am a licensed esthetician, a beauty enthusiast, beauty influencer, and I'm somebody's mama. Have a good
Somebody's mama. I love that. I'm a mom as well. I have 5 beautiful babies, and that's another reason why I have that little tagline in my name. So, ladies, since there are only ladies in here at the moment. Um, I know some people get grossed out, but I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of background. So, I do come from the medical field. I am not a doctor. I did not go that far, but I do have a medicine certification. And one thing that I like to always tell people and teach people is that um, medicine and diet and food, they do not necessarily go hand in hand with the person that is instructing you, on what you need to be doing. A doctor diagnoses, and they're there for medicine. Pharmaceutical companies and medicine and science, they go hand in hand. When you start to speak about diet, nutrition, food, that's when you need to go into the realm of meeting with a licensed dietitian or a licensed nutritionist, someone who truly cares about the people, who knows what they're talking about, and who really wants to help. So when you're dealing with your doctors, they know a little bit. I'm not saying that they don't know what they're talking about, but their study was not in food, and that's the difference. Their study is in medicine. Their study is in diagnosing you. Their study is in doing surgery or whatever their specification is. It's not necessarily to teach you how to heal yourself on your own through food. That's not where the bag is. Okay. Okay, awesome. So, it's really for them to keep you in the realm of where they are. Okay, so we have, nurses know a lot more about food as well than necessarily a doctor. And I'm not saying that they don't know. I'm just saying it's not their job to lead you away with thinking you can heal yourself. Their job is to lead you towards medication, shots, surgeries. That's just what it is, and that's what they teach. So it's not to say that it's necessarily a bad thing, but when I talk about the things that I'm talking about today, that's a disclaimer, and that's what I want to put out there so everyone is aware of where I'm coming from. So, a little bit about my background. I was able, and I love this opportunity. I was blessed with the opportunity to do 3 autopsies. And when you talk about autopsy, that is a life changing experience. So I did an autopsy on a fetus, which is, essentially a baby in utero that's growing that was never actually birthed. I did an autopsy, or I actually was able to watch the autopsy on a 44-year-old woman, and I helped and assisted in autopsy of a 56-year-old male. So, what I'm going to say about this is the point of me bringing this up is when those bodies were opened, there was an overpowering and overwhelming smell of different arrays of things that are in our bodies. But the point is, when you're on that table and someone is examining you, you can tell how someone lived their lifestyle, how they cared for their body, and the different things that they did or did not do. That is literally your record, someone's record of you and how you lived your life. And I know at that point, when you're gone, you're not gonna care. You're not gonna be able to care. But I know some people, while you're living, just like the Bible says, get your house in order. This is a part of our temple. Our bodies are a part of our temple, and we need to get that in order. So when we opened the fetus, there was, I mean, there was no smell. There was absolutely nothing. And I say this as a preference to everything I'm going to touch on, because that fetus eats, it feeds off its mother. It gets nutrients from the umbilical cord and the placenta. So there are many ways that a baby, stays in the womb and grows. That's the beauty of life. So if a fetus has no smell because it's being nourished properly, and then you open other individuals, and I'm saying, like, it's an array of, fecal matter, mucus, blood, like a bunch of different things, but those things sit in your body, and your body has a hard time breaking different things down. Hence why we have disease and different forms of hurt and inflammation and mucus going throughout our body, causing different types of disease. And where it sets in at is why we have these different names of all these different diseases and crazy, notions of what's going on with people when there are what's going on with people. And there are multiple ways to actually heal yourself and just practice living a better lifestyle. So one of the first things that I recognized with one of the individuals that was open was his weight. So his weight, and you could see the fat around him, and that attributed to the different smells that were there. It really did. So you wonder why when you go to the restroom, it may smell bad. You wonder why people get musty when they're going for a run. And it's not to say, oh, I'm sweating. Everything that you put in comes out in some way, shape, form, or fashion, through sweat, through gas, through going to the restroom. What comes in has to come out, and it comes out in different ways. When you're running and you're working out and you're sweating super hard, that doesn't mean you have to smell. Doesn't mean you have to be musty. When you go to the restroom, doesn't mean it has to stink so bad. And I know we're touching on these, we're like, ooh, you don't want to talk about that. But look, this is factual. I'll give you another example. I have a baby. I breastfed all of my children. When I started to transition them from breast milk, and my baby now, she'll go stay other places, so I don't always have the milk for them, so they give her formula. You can see the difference in her body, her poop. The smell of it is different, and it's horrible versus when she's on her natural breast milk from me, the way God intended for our babies to eat. It's a huge difference. So I don't know if some of us are mothers, we may know, but that artificial food has its place in our society, and it also causes a lot of problems within our bodies. So that example right there of just a baby in birth, a baby, a small child who's not been introduced to solid foods really, who, has solely been drinking breast milk and then transitions to some formula and then has weird pasty poop, a terrible foul smell. You can see the difference in what I'm saying about you are what you eat. If you put in garbage will come. Put in garbage. You wonder why you're running up more. Hello, ladies. Coming into the room, I'll do a quick reset. This is the Empower Empire. This is a competition free community where we build each other up mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. We share testimony, tips, and the truth of God's word to propel each other into purpose. And today we're on Wellness Wednesday talking about you are what you eat. So awesome. So welcome, Miss Sonia. Welcome, Naterica. Welcome, Ashley. Ashley, come up if you have anything to input. Feel free, anybody, if you have any questions or you have anything you want to input, to come up on stage and feel free to speak. You are welcome to do that. This is a small room where in a safe place where you can share and not feel judged. Most definitely. So, for those who just entered the room, I was sharing about my past autopsies that I was able to assist in, and a story about my baby and the things that I've seen with her, with changing her foods and transitioning her from breast milk to formula and then solid food. So, when I say you are what you eat, lady, whew, that's a big deal. So one thing that you can do to make sure that you're fueling yourself with the proper foods is, if you have to, absolutely have to shop at the grocery store. And think about it. It's about convenience. That's what today's society is. So if you have to shop at the grocery store, do your very best to shop around the outsides of the store, around in a circle, to gather fresh foods, as fresh as possible. And I know some people are like, well, see, what if I can't cook? Okay, well, if you can't cook and you're not that type of person that can like throw down on bake some chicken really good, or you know grab fresh vegetables and know what to do with them to make them taste good, then do like I do. Make salads. You don't have to cook when you make a salad. That's an easy way to still eat healthy and put the right things in your body without you having to go slave over a hot stove. Sometimes raw eating is the best way to eat because you're not losing the nutrients from cooking it all out. So that is a really good way to make sure you're picking the best foods, is to shop around the outsides. So when you start to go inside those aisles, that's when you're going to get the fats, the high fructose corn syrup. You're going to get things high in cholesterol. You're going to get those products that are high in sugars. And you're going to start to see those labels where it's like, oh, zero trans fat or fat free. Load of crocker crap. Fat free. So anytime you see labels that are telling you what it does not have, that means that more than likely something else has been substituted in that place to put in there that still isn't good for you. So when you think about, and this is me merely challenging your thought process, challenging, what you've been known, what you've been taught for years, challenging the food pyramid. Oh my God. Challenging what they've taught us in school about eating healthy and what really is healthy. Half of the things that we put in our mouth aren't healthy, and then we have the FDA that gives guidelines that's really not protecting us. They're really not. So let's take a trip down. We're gonna say memory lane, but none of us in this room were really born or alive. I'm pretty sure of that. None of us. So when I say go way back, I'm talking about going back before the Industrial Revolution. I mean, way back to see the changes and how food in itself has just turned and transformed to what it is today with all the processes and all of the things that they preservatives that are in there to preserve food. So when you think about it and you have all these added preservatives in there to spare the food and to keep the food, what do you think? And this is just a question because I'm challenging everybody to think. What do you think that's doing to your body, or what do you think is happening in your body when you ingest it and when you put it in there? Does anybody care to answer that, or does anybody feel like they have the answer or an idea of what is happening inside of your body when you consume something that has preservatives in there?
I would definitely say that our bodies really don't really properly know how to um, process those, and so it ends up causing all types of adverse reactions in our body, and kind of changing our balance when we end up dealing with those type of substances.
Absolutely. So a preservative is just what it sounds like. It's preserving your food, but when it's in your body is having the hardest time trying to process it and break it down and move it through the cycle, just like any other food that you eat. Your body is made to do its job, but that's how you have pieces of different foods and things just stored in your body and turning into fat. When you have preservatives, in your food, it's meant to preserve the food and sustain the food life. So what happens when it's in your body? Yeah, we have chemical reactions and chemicals in our body to break things down, but some of these preservatives, I mean, it preserves the food in your body too. Hence why fat comes about. Hence visceral fat, which is the some of the hardest fat to get off your stomach. Is that big extra pudge that sits there of just a layer of fat, visceral fat. And I just that's why I say it's so important. I know, baby. She wants to tell y'all what she's like. But that's why I say it's so important to shop. Do your best to shop around the outside of the grocery store and to get fresh foods. If you can, even go to your local farmers market. Go to and start to get food from local farmers that really care about their craft and what they do. See, we've become this society where everything again is microwave. We want things quick, fast, easy, simple. Comes with the times. We've been marketed to. Women, have left the home to work jobs, have businesses. It's not as easy to cook, so we get fast food. But when you think about it, even back like way when fast food first started, it was still cooked. It wasn't like some of this processed foods that the way they have fast food now. It was simply going out to eat, but you seem like you got it quicker, but you really didn't because you weren't the one cooking. So it was just little foods, and they started freezing things, and then it turned into, and it has evolved into what it is today with all this, what I like to call garbage food or fake food. So one thing that I know a lot of individuals, and welcome Miss Denise. One thing that I know a lot of individuals may or may not know is that the FDA, that is of course in here to supposedly protect, food production and different things like that, they have guidelines, but they're also there to protect themselves and their money. So a lot of these companies, when we talk about beef companies, pig factories where they're, getting your pork, all these different places, they've been dangled with the money train. All of this goes back to money. So even when high fructose corn syrup was introduced, it was a substitute that was much cheaper, so they could keep more money in their pocket than using like just the sugars and the different sweeteners that they were using. They didn't have to spend as much money, and they didn't have to use as much. And it also created an addictive effect on individuals to keep you coming back to those foods. So I don't know if people have heard how cheese is a direct correlation with heroin as far as addictiveness. And that's because, and look, there are real cheeses out there where they're made properly, and they're real. They will go bad like quickly. And a lot of those cheeses though are made like in other countries where they have real food, where they have farmers that care, that truly care about their craft, and they have the right ingredients, and they're not allowing bug parts in their food and fecal matter in their food. So those things really exist, but in our country, that's what we're going to talk about. Our country, it's not really prevalent like that. That's why I say it's best to go to your local farmers market or someone that you know that's growing and cares about what they're doing, not just trying to rush the process, not breaking, chicken legs and forcing them to just sit and not live a proper life because and injecting them with hormones. See, all of these things that are happening to these animals and our foods, and that's one reason why I'm steering clear, and moving away, from meat. And I've done that before. Is because of the quality of life that some of these animals are living for our benefit. And at the end of the day, it's not really benefiting us though either because they're being injected with hormones. So if they're being injected with hormones, where do you think that's going in us? What do you think is happening with us? That's why kids are so much bigger these days. That's why, girls are producing so much earlier these days. Like multiple things of what we're putting in our bodies, and it's never ending. This cycle is not going to stop because anywhere money is involved, you can expect that once something gets banned, something else will be created to fill that void. That's why it's good to educate yourself and be knowledgeable about what you put in your body. So with that, let me do a quick reset, and then I'll open up for questions, and then I'll segue into the next part. So thank you everyone for being here. This is so phenomenal. I'm so excited to be sharing this topic with you today about You Are What You Eat for Wellness Wednesday in the Empower Empire. This is our competitive free community where we build each other up mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. We share testimonies, tips, and the truth of God's word to propel each other into purpose. And that is so important. And part of our purpose in being propelled to our highest selves is watching our house and guarding our temple. And that involves everything that we put inside ourselves, what we feed ourselves physically with food, but also what we feed our minds and what we feed our spirits as well. So what I'm gonna do now is open the floor for any questions, comments, anyone that can relate, anyone that has any testimonials of something that they've done, tips, tricks. Feel free to raise your hand. and then we'll go into the next part.
Thank you, T, for all that you're sharing. I'm definitely gaining some nuggets. I'm pretty sure the ladies are as well. But yes, I can attest to a lot of what you're saying and definitely seeing how one that all of that makes sense, but actually it explains a lot in what we've dealt with in our own lives. Just we pay attention what we put in, even in the spiritual realm. We got to pay attention in there. Of course, we got to pay attention in the natural to what we're putting in because that is exactly what's going to come out. And we're not putting the best things in. We can't expect the best outcome either. So this Wellness Wednesday is definitely one of importance to gain this information when preparing to step into this next year. So I'm definitely enjoying the conversation. Ladies, if any of you would like to chime in, feel free. With that, I'm going to pause real quick and let Miss Jasmine introduce herself. She is on here. She co-moderates this space with me. And then from there, we'll go to Ashley so you can share. And ladies, you can just go from that order.
Oh, I was just coming on here to say one thing because I just realized listening to T, my insides are like a garbage dumpster. So that's all I have to say. I guess I need, it makes sense while we had the conversation we did last week. I need to clean everything out because